the more that you're prepared when you walk into this,
It's
what?
easy. Like it's honestly, it's not overwhelming
Yeah.
because we've already talked about it. We already know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Have you been thinking of making a move up and you're actually trying to figure out your whole financing? Well, today I am joined by Lindsay Lebrecq from Spire Mortgages, and we're going to talk about how to fund your dream home. How are you going to find that home? How does the process work? So let's dive in. We're live here in Calgary, and we're going to have some fun. And I am joined by Lindsay Lebrecq. Hello, Lindsay.
hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing great. You?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Doing great.
Awesome.
We're gonna talk today about mortgages. We're
Yes.
gonna talk about how to fund your mortgage, how to basically when you're making that move up process. How does that work? Right?
Super easy.
Super easy.
It is super easy.
There you have it.
It's not overwhelming.
It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have
No.
to be. Moving up. Someone who's moving up. What does that look like for a lot of people?
So I think the most important thing, especially today in the financing situation in the world that we're in, pre-approvals, real live pre-approvals with documents are absolutely the most important.
Right.
Computer generated, that's lovely and great for maybe a rate hold, but we need to be able to see what's going on behind the scenes to make sure that the income's right. And COVID. So people have taken time off of COVID. So then that income isn't on their pay stub. So we need to be able to take all of that into consideration to make sure. Because I always say, I don't want to be a dream crusher. I don't want to be a dream crusher.
Yeah.
I want to help you get that home. So it seems like I'm being a pain in the butt. Sometimes I am. I'm redheaded. Like that's just I am a pain in the butt. But at the same time, I want to make sure that the documents, everything lines up perfectly, smooth, seamless. Financing is, our goal at Spire for sure.
So maybe let's talk a little bit about that paperwork, because that is kind of step one.
Yeah.
Step one is putting together and pulling together the paperwork that you need when you're going to the banks.
Yeah. So you always need job letter within 30 days, 2 active pay stubs within 30 days, down payment information. This is where we're finding it's taking the most amount of time and is the most difficult because we like, now that it's online banking, we like to transfer money from one account to the next account, from the other to the next. And the more that we do that, we just have to we have to think that every transfer you make, we need a paper trail for that.
Yeah.
And so again, I know that it seems like myself, Renee, or Nicole, that we're being a pain in the butt. We are not trying to be. It's just, again, the least amount of times that the lender can touch your file, the better.
Totally.
That's the way that we want to do it. So that's why we ask those documents.
And just so, like, that's kind of a mortgage lingo, touch the file. What does that mean when you say that?
So it's like, we're in a file, we jump in, we have to revisit. We have to, because we see so many files.
Or update numbers.
We have to update numbers. If you send me something later on, like just had an experience where the client didn't send me all the down payment documents all up front, it was then when the lender looked at them again 3 weeks later, it was like, well, things have changed here. It's like, well, no, things didn't change. But when you look at it on paper, so the less time that they have to look at it and get reacquainted with the file, then they update things,
and
the
would
better.
You say it could also be someone different looking at it?
Yes.
So if somebody was having a good day the first day and said, this totally works, the next time someone looks at it and is like, well,
maybe not.
I'm going to dig deeper here. And now they're just grumpy.
Yeah.
And it's people still.
It's not computer generated. They're actually people that have to look at the file and get it approved. So again, the less, our goal is to always, when we waive financing conditions, we are 100% complete because that guarantees that they are not looking at your file again.
Totally.
So there are some lenders with COVID when it was really at the height, they were going to revisit to make sure that you had an active pay stub.
Yeah.
But now that's not happening as often.
So here's kind of a curveball question, maybe. With all of the government funding that's been happening and people receiving payments, how is that in what you're seeing right now, how is that going to potentially affect individuals and families' ability to purchase or make a move if they actually really need to?
Well, like we were saying this morning, that income is not counted as income. So, not active
For this
employment
current
income
year.
for the current year.
Yeah.
So, what we may end up seeing if you're employed and most of your income comes from commissioned income or bonus structure,
Or like a
anything like that,
self-employed
self employed,
type thing. Yeah.
your income is going to be lower for 2020. So, that's why now it's time to start thinking about making that move within 5 to 7 months,
Yeah.
because we still get to use 2018, 2019 income
Yeah.
instead of having to use 2019 and 2020 income so anytime, we'll just back up a bit to make sense of that. For any self-employed commissioned income, we need 2 years average. So again, the more income from 2019 and 2018 that we can use, the better. 2020 is going to be a tough year for a lot of people.
Story.
Yeah.
Well, especially now too, because some of that payment stuff is actually being extended into next year. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and you don't know, I don't know, but it's one of those things where what could it look like in the coming years?
So we are seeing a lot of people using the CERB money, saving it for their down payments.
Oh, interesting.
They're not saying no.
Yeah.
They're allowing it to happen. So again, this is where documents are so important. We want to see that document. We want to see the last 3 months of your bank statements for down payment. So again.
So have you had a file like that?
Yeah.
And then
they closed today.
Really? So the lender looked at it and said, oh, that's where it came from. Okay.
Yeah. Government of Canada didn't say anything.
That's strange.
So,
wow.
They had some money put away, self-saved, and then we could see money. Government of Canada would put money into their bank account. They would then transfer it out into their own savings account, and it was totally fine. So again, money management skills. I could talk all day about that. But again, it's just paper trail.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So let's maybe dive into the conversation around. So a lot of people who are making a move up, they initially probably bought their house. It was really straightforward. It was just, let's go get pre-approved, a mortgage, one property.
Yeah.
Now, how have you found on the mortgage side of things and helping advise individuals and making that transition between the two? What are some of the steps that we go through? We said step one was still get pre-approved.
Absolutely.
Because just because you own something right now does not mean the bank is going to just give you money, right?
Yeah. And I mean, when we look at files too, and we've got a house that needs to be sold and you're looking at your potential dream home, we want to make sure that if something goes sideways on the sale of that home, that you can either debt service both of them, or how are we going to structure it so that, that mainly that you can debt service both, because it happens that last minute a deal falls through. They don't they don't sign the waiver, and lo and behold, then you're kind of stuck.
Yeah.
Right. So we look at that. So after, or in that pre-approval process, we look at what our options are. If a client's just, we've already got a firm offer on the sale of their house. Perfect. That makes it super easy. But if we ask questions, are we going to port the mortgage? We talk about if, what their penalties would be if we break that mortgage and go somewhere else. Because there's lots of mortgages right now that are like 3.5%. And that's that are currently out there.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
So, because there's lots of people taking advantage of the market being softened, the prices being lower, and they want to get into that community. They want a bigger yard because of, COVID. They realize that they don't like the tight space that they're having to share. So they're wanting to move up. But we look at, again, porting, penalties. Do we need bridge financing to be able to cover from the equity of the house that they're going to sell into buying their new one? So again, lots of lots of little pieces there.
So let's talk about bridge financing.
Mhm.
So what exactly is bridge financing?
So it's kind of like in-term financing. So if you're selling your house and you're taking possession of your new one, but you take possession before you sell the firm's sale and you get the money from the lawyer on the sale of your house, there's that in between time, especially if you're going to use that money as a down payment on the new house.
Or it's tied up in your equity.
It's tied up in the equity.
And now you have both.
Then you have both.
Yeah.
So you still have to put your deposit down on the new house, but then you're not required to put the remainder down on the sale of or on the purchase of your house, because we've got bridge financing until your actual sale goes through.
So how long can you hold bridge financing for?
Usually they like 120 days maximum.
Okay.
Maximum. Yeah. So they don't like to see a long gap in between.
Yeah.
The longer the gap, the higher the loan amount for that bridge. They do sometimes charge a little bit more, but I mean, that's just what happens.
And how does someone qualify for bridge financing?
So bridge financing, you qualify if your sale of your house is actually firm and there's waivers. So
actual waivers from the buyers. It's a firm deal.
Exactly.
But I guess the qualifying for that actual bridge loan is tied into the pre-approval because they're going to be approved on both sides anyways.
Exactly.
And is it typically the same lender that is giving the bridge loan that they're going to?
A lot of the lenders do offer it, but there are some lenders that do not offer bridge financing. Okay. So you just have to, again, talk to your mortgage partner if it's the bank, a broker. Highly recommend brokers, of course, because we've got options to more for that.
Yeah.
Even we've got options if the bank that you choose doesn't have bridge financing, we can find it alternatively.
Okay.
So we always have ability to do that.
Yeah. And I guess one last question then is, what would you say is the typical cost for bridge financing for someone who has those two places, trying to manage the whole process?
Yeah.
How much is it going to cost them to hold that?
So usually it's around prime. So prime interest rate right now is 2.45 plus 2 to 3%.
Okay.
So kind of like a line of credit amount. And then sometimes there's a flat admin fee anywhere between $200 to $500.
And
so
it's calculated daily?
It's calculated daily. Yeah.
Okay.
So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, if you have any questions out there about bridge financing, throw them in here. We'll get them answered for you. But moving on, what would you say is the next step? So getting pre-approved.
Yeah.
And then what would you say from there?
Well, and then again, that whole process that we just spoke about is more or less us prepping you to make this dream come true, right? Yeah. So, and then it's talking to the realtors, to whoever people choose. Highly recommend Chamberlain Group, of course. But yeah, there's really not like much after that. And then we'll just kind of transition you through. Love working with our lawyer partners as well, because then they make sure that everything flows really smoothly between, because there are hiccups that can happen because you're dealing with, two other sets of lawyers to make sure all these transactions happen all pretty much on the exact same day or very close to each other. So,
and I think what's interesting in how you just said that is, like, do this up front, get it ready, and the rest is easy.
Exactly.
But that is not reality for most individuals when they're working with a bank or some brokers, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't fully get prepared up front.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, like, when you've said pre-approval is important, when I've had past clients sitting in here who bought their first home, they were like, man, I'm so glad we got pre-approved first.
Yeah.
Because it helped us with our understanding of XYZ, right? All these things. And so the more that you're prepared when you walk into this,
it's easy. Like, it's honestly, people think moving up, how do I have two houses just in case? We go through that initially so that when you do find the dream home and you still have your old house, it's not overwhelming because we've already talked about it and we already know what's going to happen. Yeah. And I mean, I think the other part too is with interest rates being as low as they are, if you see, because it's advertised, it's on your phone, like
Yeah,
social media knows that you're looking for a house and mortgages and all that kind of stuff. So then
that's true.
like they know
That's true.
everything, right? So
It's like the show Social Dilemma.
it's this
It's kind of like, yeah,
it's the crazy show. If you haven't
it's
watched it, you
crazy.
need to watch it.
Yeah.
But they know that. So then interest rates, you're going to see really discounted interest rates. Just pick up the
Yeah.
phone, call your mortgage lender partner as to who you're using, and talk about the interest rates, because some of those really low interest rates right now have lots of terms to them that
It's true.
they're not ideal.
Yeah.
So then therefore, let's figure out, you just put the disco
I
lights
totally, you know what I just
Just
realized as we're
on. Put the
talking? I was
disco
like,
lights on.
we never had the lights on. The lights aren't on. I was like, why is it so dark in here?
Anyway, sorry, got sidetracked.
That's funny.
So if you see a different interest rate,
Yeah.
I just pick up the phone and call us, because again, you don't want to start that
Yeah.
whole process of getting pre-approved, and just like every coffee isn't brewed the same.
Yeah.
Every mortgage broker, bank is not the same. So, and that also affects your credit and all that kind of stuff. So again, the pre-approval, I can't say it enough, because it's let's not say pre-approval, pre-planning. It's just the
Totally.
planning stage, right? Because
Yeah.
then once it's done, it's easy. It's
easy from
seamless.
there.
Like,
Yeah.
it's really seamless.
So I guess one other question to kind of talk about is the whole, we were talking about this morning with the team, is the interest rates.
Yeah.
So right now, some of our team too are seeing certain banks offering crazy low interest rates,
Crazy low.
tied with like, hey, here's free money.
Mhm.
And it's not even, I was shocked by this, not even tied to their mortgage.
Yeah.
Usually those things are like, well, you'll just pay it back this way to me, Mr. Bank, right?
But they do.
Well,
right? But you do.
But you always do.
You always do.
You always do. So there's nothing free there.
Nothing is free.
Okay.
From
That's
the
why I
bank.
was like, I was so surprised by
Nothing.
this.
It's not tied. It's not on your mortgage amount.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's that, say that $2,500 that you get
Yeah.
isn't attached to your mortgage balance.
Yeah.
However, keep in mind the mortgage penalty is higher with those lenders.
Yes.
Right? So again, it's, is your penalty based on posted rate, or is it, again, these are all lingo questions, or is it based on the posted rate? Posted rate right now is 4.79%.
Yeah.
So is it going to be attached to that versus your actual discounted rate?
Yeah.
So the bank always gets their money back.
Yeah, it's true.
That's how they make billions in one quarter, right?
Yeah.
Like, they hold the gold.
Well, and so for a consumer
Yeah.
who is being wooed by a great rate, what should they be looking for, and how can they look maybe behind the curtain, for better lack of term, to really see and understand what are 2 or 3 things they should be looking for specifically?
I mean, ask them questions. Ask them, what is their penalty based on?
Yeah.
Because the penalties right now, I just called in for a lender or for a client, and it was, I say it's only because it's been in a cheaper one lately. It was $15,800. But the gentleman on the phone said he quoted one for $35,000.
A penalty?
A penalty.
What?
So it's, again, asking your lender partners, what is my mortgage penalty calculated on? I mean, you can find all this stuff on Google. You can look it up. However, but it's asking them, and most of them don't even know. I mean, I was in competition with another big bank this summer, and I said to the client, you need to ask these questions. And the gentleman at the bank had no idea, right? So it's, they're not knowledgeable. I can't say all of them aren't, but some of them, there's some great ones that I refer business to.
Yeah.
However, it's just asking questions.
Yeah.
Fine print is so important. And how is it going to come back in? Is it even portable?
Totally.
Like, is your mortgage portable?
Can you? Have you seen some of those like really discounted type rates actually not be portable?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So it's, again, rate is how they hook you.
Yeah.
And then they get you and you can't get out.
And portable means moving it from one house to another.
Yeah.
So just so you guys know. No, I think this has been fascinating. I think there is a big process making a move, making a change
Yeah.
from one house to another.
Yeah.
And again, not everyone is made equal when it
Mhm.
comes to who you're going to work with.
Yeah.
And I think more than anything, I think when I'm hearing you talking about your bridge financing that you need to get set up, when you're talking about checking out the back end of interest rates and really figuring out the bank,
Yeah.
it's all about being curious.
Mhm.
And the more that you right there, the more that you are invested in the process of figuring out and getting the best deals that are going to work for you, the better it's going to be.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, the more questions that you ask, the more curious that you are, and the more information that you gather, you're going to be so further ahead. Because in our experience, and this is from your experience and my experience, the cheapest thing is not always the best.
No.
And if you're 100% going after a rate hunt, and I will say this for you because it
I
sounds
appreciate
weird
it.
when you say
Yeah.
it, is if you're going after a rate hunt and you're just trying to find the cheapest rates, you could really get screwed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the world blew up this year. How did we know that was going to happen? And how many people are stuck in a home that they actually can't get out of because they were rate hunting before?
Yeah.
Many. I know we've talked to many.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really digging in and finding out.
It's just
what it
asking
is.
questions.
Yeah.
Or again, leaning on your mortgage professional to help walk you through that process.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need to be scary. It doesn't need to be overwhelming. Just pick up the phone, call us. Love to help. Education is key for us because the more people know, the better they are in the future with themselves, their families, everything. That's my jam.
That's
my jam.
So where can people find you?
You can find me at lindsay@spiremortgage.ca.
Okay.
You can always send me a text as well at 403-703-3019.
Oh, let's say that again. One more time.
403
403
703
Yeah.
3019.
19. Oh man, you're just quick. And spiremortgages.ca is your website.
Spiremortgage.ca.
Oh, I did it right in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Spiremortgage.ca.
Yeah, and we've got lots of information on our website too at spiremortgage.ca. It's really interactive. Lots of, PDFs on process of how step by step. Because again, sometimes people don't like to ask the question because they feel like asking questions, they're dumb, but they're not.
No.
They're, the more you know, the better. So we've put it online.
I just saw a star go across the star that the more you know, whatever that commercial was. You remember that?
No.
It was like
I don't watch TV.
Like Hal Johnson and Joanne McLeod.
Right. Now you're dating us.
Whatever that was.
40. You're dating us.
Man.
Dating us here.
We are.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for coming here.
Thanks
and
for
thank you
having
for those that kind of stuck around and watched. If you have questions, reach out to Lindsay. Lindsay and her team, we have worked with for a number of years. I have personally known for even longer, and they're amazing. We only work with people who we would trust to do our own stuff. And we've actually asked you to do stuff.
You have. Yeah.
So on that note, if you have questions, reach out to Lindsay. But moving up, it's a big process. It's a big transition. And for those of you that are thinking of making that move, be prepared. Be prepared, right? Get a chant going. But the thing is, again, it's not I love what you said. It's not a pre-approval. It's being prepared. Yeah. That's all it is.
Totally.
So the more that you're prepared, the better it is. The more you know.
And hey, I will just plug, because if you know me, I have rentals. I love rentals. So if anyone wants to get into the rental world, this is an opportunity too.
Huge. For
people to, move up, build a rental portfolio. We've seen what, the stock market's done. This might be the way that you can do it. Put 5% down, get into your dream home, because that is possible. Your next house, you can get into it. And then turn your new house into a rental if it makes sense. So again, that's another one of our jams, but there's so many options once you talk to someone to help plan where you're going to go.
We'll have to do that for another video.
That will be.
I like it.
Okay.
Well, thanks everybody. Enjoy your day. We'll talk to you soon.